Hey everyone, it's Kai from WCC, and today we're going to look at the final Lost Meta Standard tier list. Now, next week coming out in Japan, there is going to be some big releases that is going to change the metagame a lot, and that is Premium Collection 2020 and the MLB set. And those aren't coming out in English for a while. Our releases got delayed by a very long time. Our next release is like in June, and that is for like the trial decks for Tri 3. So we're kind of stuck in this metagame for quite a while. Our MLB set even hasn't been released, like announced at all. So that's probably coming out in August maybe at the earliest. But yeah, no announcements of that. Premium Collection for English is coming out in August. So if they release the same time, that's kind of when it's going to be. But yeah, we're going to be stuck in this kind of metagame, this final metagame for a while, except for the fact that there's going to be a ban list happening next week. The restriction list is going to come into effect then, and that's basically going to change nearly nothing. So let's take a look at what are some of the best decks in the current metagame. Now, easily enough, Vanquisher and Revan top picks. At the beginning of the meta, I said Revan wasn't top, it was like an A. But after watching people play and playtesting myself, I've definitely moved it up to A, because it's pretty good. You have multiple playstyles. I've seen people go Excel 2, I've even seen people go Excel 1. A lot of success comes from going Excel 1, because you get to play around with Wheel Assault and just do a lot of combos. So that's pretty cool. I do like Narukami more though, simply because I am a Narukami stan, maybe. But just, you have more, it's slightly, you're not stuck into kind of a certain, 3-turn game. So it's way more, just a lot more versatile. Everything else currently in the metagame is just jank. So if you're going to a team tournament, let's say it's happening maybe tomorrow, these two I think are a definite include. But there is also another deck that I rate quite highly, and that is Chrono Fang. Now, a lot of people underrate this in English. I know in Japan they love this, and that's why Urcap's like 2,000 yen each. This deck I think is personally pretty good. You make pretty strong, you have like strong turns when you reach grade 3, suddenly everything's slamming you with a crit. People like going Force 2 with it, because then you can get more crit columns. Force 1 is also fine in my opinion, just because you create columns that they just cannot guard against. Your side columns become massive, and there is still multiple playstyles with this. This Chrono Fang deck only gets better. Gear Chronicle in general only gets better when Tri 3 gets released. They get a grade 3 searcher, so that makes it so it's harder to just get grade stuck at a grade. Like all these top decks right now, they're pretty much only playing 4 grade 3s, except for Narukami. They play Jaggy Shot as well, because Jaggy Shot is actually just a really good grade 3 as well. But like Gear Chronicle, Chrono Fang, you're on 4 Chrono Fang. If you're running Jet later on, you're just running Jet, and then you got your Strides. Revan's just running Revans. That's it. You only want Revans. The grade 3 searcher is very nice to help you make it more, more consistent. Revan also has things like Narissa, Coral Salts that can help it draw. Gear Chronicle currently doesn't have the grade 3 searcher, but they do have like Chrono Tooth that lets you draw the entire Chrono Fang kind of ride kind of chain. It's not a chain, but it's thematic themed, right? Those help you draw. So you've got all these nice draw engines, and then when they finally get their grade 3 searcher later on, it just makes the entire deck more consistent. These decks all function off that strong grade 3 turn, so these are just easily, I think, the toppest of the top grade 3s. I haven't really put these in order, but if I was to put it in order, it'd be Vanquisher, then Revan, then Gear Chronicle. And yeah, Gear Chronicle only gets better when the next set gets released. Now, moving on to the A tier, I've put Mordred, Claret, and Eve variants, okay? So, Claret, a lot of people have memed on it pretty hard at the beginning of the tier list. Again, well, not the tier list, the beginning of the metagame, because, it seems like a cool engine, but it kind of, how do you build it, right? The effect itself of Claret feels pretty jank, but then when you combine it with the rest of the, you got Morian Spears, amazing card, Dark Pride Drag, all the stuff that helps you mill, you can easily build a deck that gets really aggressive, lots of crits. You have to, it's not just, you just play 4 draws, right? There are different ways you can build the deck as well. Do I run grade 1 nulls to fill that grade 1 count? The only thing that I dislike about the deck is that, the ratios are kind of jank. You have 4 grade 3s, you have 8 grade 2s, and pretty much the rest of your deck is just grade 1. So you have that really bad pyramid scheme kind of thing going on there that makes it slightly less consistent, but when it gets going, you suddenly have a super compressed deck. Your text just pretty much all triggers. You're just critting your opponent, restanding, making a hell of a hard time for your opponent to play. If they get its early rush on, you can basically just beat any deck that it wants if you just outpace it really fast. So Claret overall has gotten better. The only bad times is when your opponent like heals and heals twice in a game, then you kind of lost. But overall, it's still a great rush deck, solid rush deck that can kind of compete. Same thing with kind of Mordred, except we haven't really seen as many Mordreds, simply because, you know, apart from the Vision tournaments, there's not much been going on. But overall, I still rate Mordred decently high. Whether it competes well with Claret or not, it's up to you what you want to pick. But the cards it has gotten make it more consistent has been really, really strong. So I still rate Mordred quite high in A. And the last one is just the Eve variant. So Eve kind of makes any deck, any Bermuda deck, kind of scary. Because when they ride that Eve, you could just die. Just straight up die. So just kind of any Eve variant, you know, Eve Melody, I've seen Eve Riviere, Eve Coral. I think any of those decks are just really carried by a strong Eve. And if your opponent just can't deal with that Eve turn, or deal with Eve in general, they're just gonna get wrecked, right? Other thing is, like, with the amount of removal, you know, Narukami binds your front rows, can bind your back rows as well if it wants to move stuff around. Geek Chronicle also retires the front, so you still you get Eve replenishing the deck and deck checking the top of the deck and just forcing, like, really strong plays there. So I still think Eve is quite strong. With Excel, no Excel, so no Protect in A. Moving on to B, we have more Force Clans. Force Clan, we have Riviere. Okay, Riviere here. I personally think Riviere is quite overrated. After it got nerfed, after it got errated, I think Riviere, pure Riviere, is not amazing. I know a lot of people rate Riviere quite high. I don't. I think Eve is slightly better. But I do think there's kind of maybe possibilities there with, like, maybe Riviere Melody. You try that out. Melody's really gotten buffs when you have, like, Liezalette getting unbuffed. The value from that Liezalette now in the Riviere, not Riviere, with the Melody engine just got really buffed quite highly. So I think splashing Melody with, like, nearly anything seems like a pretty decent possibility, because Melody is okay as a Vanguard. You get big columns, but even on Regard circles, they also become big columns as well. So I think there's a lot of possibility there with, like, Melody splashes into a lot of decks. Other thing is Genesis. So Genesis got the nice wombo combo one-shot kind of potential. Not as consistent as the rest of the decks in a way, because again, you're kind of running like a weird ratios where with Genesis the problem is at grade 2. But then you have a lot of grade 3s that you're running, and then you have, like, grade 5s they kind of have to run. So there's that really weird ratio that you have to play around with. But overall, if it gets going, you can just kind of wombo combo your opponent out of the game. Otherwise, in terms of consistency, I want to rate it as consistent as any other deck here. So that's why it's suffering. It's down in B. Although, you know, if you play it, you get lucky, you can still win games, right? Pretty much what Standard's all about. Other Excel clans in B, I have Great Nature just because it's still consistent, still nice. Probably doesn't compete very well against these Force clans. They can just kind of slam early game and just bash Great Nature out of the game. Nova Grapplers, people keep on saying, why is God Handy? Why is Nova Grapplers even good? Simply because Nova Grappler, like God Hand Dragon, you can just randomly win the game, okay? That's just pretty much it. If it goes first, it's like Tachikaze Light, okay? You go first, you got the cards, they didn't kill you, you could just win, alright? So that's why God Hand, I always put God Hand in B, simply because if they go off, they go off. There is nothing you can do. Standard in a nutshell, right? Go first, you got the cards, damn, I win, right? If you go second, do I live? Maybe I win, but that's kind of similar to a lot of decks. But God Hand itself, you just have that one-turn kill potential that is always strong, no matter what deck you play. Here, I've actually put in some Protect clans. Angel Feather, I don't really... Like, Protect clans in this day and age just feel very lol. They're not doing much, okay? Your best clans are Excel, and, like, and some of these Force clans just don't care. If the problem with Protect, right, is that Excel clans are so dominant, and especially with these two Revens and Vanquisher, they're so dominant that they'll just absolutely smash you, okay? And then these Force clans, like 3 of the 4 Force clans in S and A, can really just drop a field early and then bash you when you're not ready. So with Protect, you want to kind of extend it a bit to the later game where, you know, you can kind of out-resource your opponent. But before you even reach there, you're dead, alright? And one thing with Angel Feather is that they kind of want it to be an aggressive Protect clan, but it doesn't really fulfill that role well because your columns aren't as high as your opponents, Alright, you can't compete with Force Clan's power. You can't compete with Excel Clan's multi-attacks. And then when you think about these, like Vanquisher for example, it is a clan that does a lot of attacks, high power, and they kind of just refresh their hand at the end of turn. Like Revan kind of just pops off immediately when it wants to, and then you're just dead. Alright? So Angel Feather never really gets its advantage going, and overall the deck itself is pretty clunky. I haven't seen a definitive build for Angel Feather yet. A lot of ideas have been floated, a lot of people have tried a lot of things, but there's just nothing that really is definitive about the deck itself. So, Angel Feather had its time last WGP when Riviere was the only deck, but you know, Riviere is not the only deck anymore. There's just a lot of decks here that are really good, and even back then, WGP, right, Narukami, really, really strong. So, Angel Feather down in B, kind of jank. Dark Irregulars, still I consider Dark Irregulars is the best deck for Protect if you want to play it, probably until next week where it just gets absolutely murdered. But yeah, you don't have a lot of choices with Protect. Protect is suffering, alright? They need to get a lot of buffs for them to be good. And finally, in the last tier, I don't know, like C, I kind of just wanted to put more Protect clans to make it a bit more balanced, you know, diversity quota. But honestly, Mega Colony is the lamest Protect deck you'll ever play. If you probably play against any Force Clan, you have a good chance of winning because you are so lame and you just draw a billion cards. And then you play against any Excel deck, you'll probably lose. So it gets put in C tier, and then a Gold Paladin, you know, Agravain. I love Gold Agravain. Random Ezel decks can do fine too, but yeah, Agravain's cool. Not as good as everything else, but it's at least better than the rest of the clans that I didn't feature. So come next week, there is going to be a restriction list hitting, and that is like double Franken, you know, Violence Flanger getting hit for Grand Blue, and a Variant Hardleg getting hit for Dark Irregulars. So that basically just makes Dark Irregulars irrelevant for the rest of the time until they get more support. Like, unfortunately, that's it. No Variant Hardleg in Standard for Dark Irregulars. You don't really have much of game. You don't have much finishing potential. You might as well just go in the bin. So that's pretty much it. If you think of why S tier is S tier as well, is I put them in S tier because no matter if you go first or second, you have a decent chance of winning. If you go first, you just monster your opponent. If you're second, with these decks, you do generate a lot of advantage through their own gimmicks. Vanquish is just all around great. Excel, you can still rush your opponent and try and kill them early. Gear Chronicle, same thing. You still have a strong grade 3 turn. You still have technically a strong grade 2 turn where you can commit a lot of cards to. So overall, these clans do very well when they go first or second, and that's why if I was to go to a team tournament like just tomorrow, for example, I'd probably just take these three, right? I'd just take Aquaforce, Narukami, and Gear Chronicle, and then if someone really doesn't want to play any of these decks, like they say, I don't want to play Aquaforce, I'd probably just smack them across the face and go, just do it, dude, just do it. But let's say they don't want to play Gear Chronicle, I'd just say, okay, just play one of these other Force clans, and let's hope you do well. If they want to play Protect clan, I just say no, just let's find another teammate, right? So overall, I think correct choices, anything that's not Protect, and anything in S and A are pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is pretty much the final Lost Meta standard tier list. I don't think anything is going to change. With Premium, I don't know if I'm going to make a tier list with Premium, because Premium is just an absolute mess. If you look at this background, you will know why Premium is kind of in a weird place. But, you know, Premium Collection's coming out, so we're still going to do some kind of Premium Collection things, related things, after the last few cards are released. I think it's just Mega Colony and Bermuda Triangle, so keep an eye out for that. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. If you agree or disagree, just like and subscribe. So that's all the shilling I'm going to do for today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.